you can download a step-by-step PDF version of this tutorial just by clicking the link in the description. And in that step-by-step printable version, you're going to find lots of photographs and every single step that you need to know in order to create this. Right, at the top of my picture, I want quite a lot of light. So we're going to have dark stems against a pale background. At the bottom of the picture, I want more dark. So down there, we'll be having dark leaves against a light background. So let's start at the top. I've made up some green with my yellow, orange, azo and Prussian blue. And I'm going to begin just simply painting in some of these. Teeny tiny brush so that you get nice, sharp little lines. Go up the stem. Then I might add a little bit more of the Prussian blue. So we got some dark there. Maybe a little bit of dark under there. There we are. You always want more than one tone, whatever you're painting. The leaves at the top, I'm just going to make a slightly darker green than the background. So it's the same green, I'm just putting more water on my brush. And again, we may want one side a little bit darker than the other. Same up here, this is just straightforward painting them in. And I may not even want to do all of it, some of it can just fade away and be the same as the background. Once it's wet, you can let things bleed into it, that's fine for at the top. And then we're going to move down to the bottom. Here I want to start with a wash all over of a sort of middly green, but we're going to leave out some of the stalks. So I'm going to paint on some of this middly green. I'm going to go over the little petals, leaves, sorry, wrong word, not petals, little leaves, and I'm going to blend it out towards the edge. Go over the leaves. We're going to put 2 coats down here. Leave the stems. So all the leaves are getting a darker green down here, but some of the little stems are going to stay white background colour. And as we get to the outside, I'm just going to put more and more water. And then finally I'm going to wash my brush out, and I'm not going to go here, I'm going to go on the outside and come in to join it. And then you will find that the green will just fade away naturally into the sides. So I'm going to go all the way over the bottom around everything in this middle green. And if I come to a stalk that I think it might be nice to leave out and have really pale, I'm going to leave it out. A couple of stalks down there I'm going to leave out. And just put everything else in a middlier green. There we are, I'm losing you a bit. There we are, sorry. I was off the screen a little bit there, getting carried away, sorry. We come back, leave the stalk out, paint in the leaves. So that's our first layer on the bottom, is to get everything just a little bit greener. And round here, you can sort of have a choice. Do you want it to be greener? Putting fresh water on the outside and coming in for it to fade out? Or do you want the rose colour to just carry on? You could do whatever you wished. Here I'm going to let the pink carry on into the outside. Then we're going to leave this bit to dry, and we're doing another layer on top. Right, okay, now what I'm going to do is another layer where I'm leaving out the leaves and darkening the background. So there are some little leaves coming off the bottom of this, so I'm going to leave them out and darken in behind them, so that the leaves come out as a paler green. The stalk is really pale now. I mean, we might in some places have to darken it down, but we'll worry about that at the end. And that will be totally up to you. Then I'm going to go in with water, fetch it out towards the outside. Again, go in with water from the outside in and fetch it out. Now we've got a nice bit of depth in there. Let's go up here just a little bit. Let's go up here just a little bit as well. Sorry, I was off screen there. I wasn't planning to do that bit, but it looked like it wanted to be done. Come in with the water, always from the outside in. There we are. Now we're graduating from darker down here to lighter at the top. So I'll come back down here. Let's go back in between these two. Leave out the stalk. You do have to have your wits about you about what you're leaving out and what you're putting in. There we are, and down here, outside that one, outside the rose, outside everything I want to leave on there. I might go outside here as well. And put a bit of dark outside there. And come from the outside in with clear water and let it wash away. Now on these leaves we can make just a little bit of dark and light, as long as we fade it away before we reach the edge, so that we've still got that nice edge on there. And we can get a little bit of shadow and light on them. Let's make a centre line by there. We're just going to play around with these lovely greens. Let's get a dark bit in there. And you're just looking at light against dark, dark against light constantly, and arranging your leaves so that that will happen. Going into this bit, leaving out the stalk. I've actually got a leaf there, so I'll colour him in this time and I'll leave the background. I'm going to lighten him a little bit. There we are. And I'm going to go into my really, really dark and get a little hole in there. And in here. In between the stalk and the leaf. And as I come down towards the bottom, from the outside in with clean water, outline the leaf. You can at this point, if you wish, you could pull a little bit of green down some of these stalks, or I might put a little bit of shadow at the top there where it's coming away from underneath the flower. Lots of little things that you can do, and you can always just pull it back out again and get it pale again. So you can see that I've got medium green leaves, a very dark background. Moving up, I've got multi-toned leaves, but always a different tone to the background. And then as I come up here, my dark background becomes light and my leaves become darker, so that we're going to have a dark corner down here and a lit area up here. So you can work your way all the way around doing that. And if you feel the need up here to put a little bit of slightly darker green in, you can, but I suggest you leave it paler than down here. But you could separate them either by doing the stalks or by putting some slightly darker green in here and letting it wash away. I've given you a snippet of this one and little pieces of this one, a start of these and a snippet of these on the background. Work the whole thing up, take ages and get really lost in it. It's one of the nicest things to do. And then at the end, I want to get a bit of this freedom that we've got up here around the rest of the picture. So I've actually changed to a bigger brush. It's still a watercolour brush, But I'm going to pick up some of my colours. Oh, let's have a look at that bright red. I'm going to practice it on another bit a minute. That's it, a little bit more water on my brush. And I'm simply going to flick some little spots on the picture. That'll be enough for the red, don't go too mad. A little bit of the pinky perhaps. And it's just sending a little, oh, maybe a little bit more water with it would have been nice. There we are. A little bit of freedom in the picture. Don't do this if any of your things are wet. You can see down here my green is still wet and it's all spread. So make sure everything's dry. And then I think I would do the same with a little bit of green. Quite a watery brush. If you haven't done this before, practice on something because you can't take it off. But it gives it an airy, sort of a little bit free feeling at the end. So there we are. Take your time, take ages and ages and ages, enjoy it, get lost in it, and you'll end up with a beautiful, beautiful painting.